and wear longer. And the best in skis, boots, and accessories. Ski packages, too. Pierce Skate and Ski, 98th and Pleasant, Bloomington. Open evenings and Sundays.
This is WCCO Television, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
From WCCO Television News, this is Morning Report.
Good morning, and thanks for joining us on this Friday, November 20th edition of the Morning Report. I'm Bill Carlson. The Minneapolis skyline is a bit flat this morning. The dome is down, collapsed under heavy snow and an apparent defect. Governor Quee tells legislators December 1st is still the date for a special session to deal with Minnesota's money woes. And the legend of D.B. Cooper lives on 10 years later in Washington. Did he make it or didn't he? We'll sample some opinions of the folks in Washington. But first, Dan Carlson says the other shoe is about to drop. First snow, then cold. Is that about the size of it, Dan?
That's about the size of it, Bill. We're going to be a little bit below the norm, about 10 degrees or so as far as temperatures go. Quite a switch from what we were at a week ago. Right now in the Twin Cities, we're at 25 degrees. We're looking for a high today of only about 29. Around the five-state area at 6 o'clock this morning. Flurries pretty much everywhere. Mostly cloudy conditions and temperatures running from the upper teens all the way to 30 degrees out near Green Bay, Wisconsin. Our forecast for the five-state area, decreasing clouds gradually from the west. They probably won't start to break up over the state of Minnesota until later tonight. Flurries expected over Minnesota and Wisconsin, mostly cloudy conditions down in Iowa. Temperatures will run the range from the mid-20s up in the northeastern part of Minnesota all the way on up to the mid-40s over parts of western South Dakota. Our high yesterday was 34 degrees, the overnight low 25, sunrise 7:17, sunset at 4:40. All that 10 to 11 inches of snow just translated into about a quarter inch of water in the rain gauge for the past 24 hours. Our forecast is for cloudy and breezy conditions today. We're looking for a high of 29, a low of 13. Winds will be northwest to 10 to 20 miles per hour. Clouds will break up tonight, leaving us with partly cloudy conditions and a high of about 33 degrees for tomorrow. Bill?
Okay, Dan, and as you've been seeing, our live eye in the sky is over the downtown Minneapolis area, and incidentally, the Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodrome has faced its first weather challenge and flunked. Dale Dobish has a view of that deflated dome from high in the sky over the metropolitan Minneapolis area. Dale, what do you think?
Well, good morning, Bill. Well, it's not really a good morning, I guess, for dome fans. The dome deflated about 9 o'clock last night, and this morning it remains completely flat. As you can see, the one panel on the north side is, tore out, actually. Stadium officials said apparently a defective dome panel gave away under the weight of all that snow and the high pressure. They tried to get rid of the problem by pumping more pressure. They inflated it to 1.5 times its normal, but still didn't take care of it, and the dome failed last night. So they're not sure of how long it's going to take to repair it or what the cost might be, and obviously, as we all know, it's still under construction, so I'm sure those costs will be contained in the otherwise, in checking in traffic this morning, Bill, things are moving along quite well, although we are seeing quite a few red flashing lights and sanding crews out working around the exits and entrance ramps to the freeways. One thing I did notice this morning, I should pass along, that once you get to your destination, the parking lots and ramps are extremely slippery, so once you get out of the car or get there, the problem isn't over. You can still easily slip and take a little tumble once you get out of your car. Otherwise, snowing lightly and some glazing conditions out here right now. We'll keep an eye on things and get back to you in a few moments.
Okay, Dale, back to you shortly. And incidentally, there is one more weather-related note here, though the traffic problems seem not to be unusual. The Minneapolis Special School District reports 2 school closings due to power failures. Keewaydin and Morris Park schools will be closed to students. However, staff members are asked to report. The battle to bring power back to the people of the Twin Cities goes on this morning, and in just a little while, some new troops will enter the fray. Northern States Power Company has hired an outside contractor to help restore power. With the additional help and the NSP repair crews that have already been working all night, nearly 700 repairmen are expected to be on the job this morning. They're facing a mammoth task. At last report, some 95,000 customers were still in the dark, all because of that storm that dumped between 8 and 12 inches in the Twin Cities yesterday. NSP officials aren't optimistic that things can be cleaned up very quickly. Last night at a 10 p.m. report, Wayne Kaplan talked about those
We would
efforts.
hope to have power restored by sometime Sunday. That's a long time from now, but to say anything earlier than that I think would not be fair to people. We have, as I say, approximately 100,000 customers still out, and there are literally thousands of repair jobs that have to be done before all service can be restored.
The continuing power outages means people are not only left in the dark, but in the cold. So the Red Cross has set up 2 emergency shelters. One shelter is located in South Minneapolis at the Oakland Avenue Methodist Church at 4405 Oakland Avenue South. The other shelter is located in Maplewood at the Lakeview Lutheran Church at 1194 East County Road C. Within the hour, crews are expected to finish up plowing snow emergency routes in Minneapolis and St. Paul, and at 8 this morning, they'll turn their attention to the east-west streets. Cars must be kept off those streets until 9 tonight. Tomorrow, the plows will begin clearing out the snow on north-south streets starting at 8 in the morning, finishing by 9 tomorrow night. In this sort of weather, a lot of folks start thinking about talking flu shot. Well, think again. If you're on medication for some other medical problem, say 2 Minnesota researchers, the pair say the flu shots can depress the body's ability to metabolize other medicines such as those that fight blood clots and asthma. Doctors Paul Kramer and Craig McLean of the Minneapolis Veterans Administration and the University of Minnesota say flu shots should still be given, but suggest doctors closely monitor patients who are taking other medication. Still ahead in the morning report, a compromise is reached on a bill to keep the government going. Governor Quee sticks with his plan for a December 1st special session. Dale Dobish keeping his eye on the morning's motoring. He'll have an update. And Dan Carlson says the flurries give way to freezing cold. We'll check in with him when the morning report continues.
It's here. Levitt's sensational loading dock sale. Levitt's buys furniture by the trainload, and to make room, we must clear our warehouse of surplus stock right now. We've dropped prices on hundreds of quality pieces to guarantee quick sale. Our loading dock is jammed with merchandise at big savings. Plus, hundreds of items in our showroom are also sale priced. Look for this tag and save big now during Levitt's sensational loading dock sale. Don't let it pass you by.
There's over 2,400 potato growers in Idaho, but I'm not one of them. I'm an Idaho potato inspector. I make sure every potato meets standards even higher than the U.S. government demands. So you can be sure Idaho potatoes are the best, because if they don't get my seal of approval, they don't get this seal of approval.
If you want the right potato, you know just where to go. When you find our seal, you know it's real, it's grown in Idaho.
Idaho, the first name in potatoes.
On the right, new Holiday Warehouse. On the left, the #1 food warehouse. Both feature the lowest prices on food in town. But Holiday Warehouse also offers housewares and sporting goods. #1 doesn't. Holiday Warehouse offers clothing and automotive supplies. #1 doesn't. And Holiday Warehouse has shorter, faster checkout lines. #1 doesn't. New Holiday Warehouse. Low warehouse prices without long warehouse lines.
Now at Target, fashion made more affordable. This fall, step out in Lee jeans on sale at Target. First quality Lee 100% cotton denim jeans with 5-pocket Western styling and slim leg design. You'd expect to pay considerably more for these same jeans at any leading department store. But now at Target, they're just $17.99. At that price, a second pair could come in handy. Lee jeans, now on sale at Target.
Well, it took a marathon session that ended only 4 hours ago, but the U.S. Senate has reached a compromise that will allow funding to continue for government agencies. Current funding was scheduled to run out at midnight tonight. President Reagan had voted to veto the funding bill that was first planned unless further cuts were made. And early today, the Senate voted 62-35 to trim $3,300,000 from that bill. Governor Quee is now scheduled to outline his plans for dealing with the state's financial problems next Tuesday. DFLers yesterday asked the governor to delay a special session for 1 week until December 7th, but the governor said no. Karen Boros reports.
Legislative leaders filed into the governor's office to learn that Quay still intends to call a special session December 1st, just 3 working days after the governor is scheduled to unveil his plans for dealing with the state's $860 million shortfall.
I told him that I thought that if we had some time to prepare for the special session would be cheaper and more effective and shorter.
DFLers said the governor spent time outlining deadlines for action in dealing with the state's cash flow problems. December 15th, the deadline for withholding aid to cities. December 31st for withholding school aid payments.
I guess our frustration is the governor's frustration, and that is that I'm sure they've been having difficulty putting together their package on that $768 million package, and as a result, their decision has been backed up, and it forces our back up against the wall when we have to make decisions through the legislative process.
Quay has options to withholding school aid, including extension of short-term borrowing limits and borrowing from pension and bond funds. Option Quay expects will be bypassed in favor of withholding school payments.
Well, I'm pretty confident, but we have talked to them and said if there are other alternatives, and I laid out what some of the other ones are, that I would be happy if they wanted to consider them as well.
Karen Boris, WCCO Television News at the state capitol.
Governor Quay will be taking up Minnesota's financial troubles with the President Reagan today. Quay is one of 4 Midwestern governors summoned to the Oval Office to discuss the region's economic problems. Governors from Michigan, Illinois, and Wisconsin will also be taking part in that discussion. Northern States Power Company has come up with a plan to dispose of a highly toxic chemical. That substance is known as PCBs, or polychlorinated biphenyls. PCBs were once added to oil used to cool electrical transformers, and NSP has been shipping the contaminated oil out of the state. Now NSP would like to ship it to its High Bridge plant in St. Paul. There it would be burned and used to generate electricity while saving the cost of out-of-state shipping. NSP officials say the plant's boiler would break the PCBs into water, carbon dioxide, and chlorides. The Minnesota Pollution Control Agency must approve that plan, however. A lot of folks are still without power, and now that they're facing the prospects of even colder temperatures, we'd like to check with Dan Carlson and see how cold and how long. Dan?
Temperatures in the 20s today, Bill, over parts of the upper Midwest. In the 30s for tomorrow for the Twin Cities, though. We hope to warm up maybe close to 40 by Monday, but we'll get to that in a moment. In the more immediate future, as I mentioned, 20s covering the entire state of Minnesota, northwestern Wisconsin, and the eastern Dakotas, 30s as far south as northern Missouri. Really no warm air except in the southwestern deserts and then over the Florida Peninsula out ahead of the cold front associated with the storm system that's been tracking to the east. On a satellite recorder, we can show that to you now. It started out, you might recall, in the Pacific Northwest about a week ago, then tracked down to the south through the Central Plain states. It's now moving off, you see here, towards the western shores of Lake Erie. There are several forms of travelers advisories, winter watches, etc. out for this part of the country. So if you're going to be traveling in that direction over the next couple of days, I would advise calling ahead and check the travel conditions. The bulk of the cloudiness is beginning to move to the east. We'll see a break up in it out in the west of the Dakotas, but we are watching yet another system developing out to the west that could bring us some precipitation on Monday. On the national map, high pressure will start to develop in the central states today, hopefully clearing us off for tomorrow and into Sunday. This first system that's going to be coming through us, we're not really expecting anything out of except maybe occasional cloudiness. But then out to the west, just beginning to move into the Pacific Northwest, is that secondary system that's going to warrant some watching. Well, with all the precipitation around, how much fell? Well, up to 12 inches in parts of the Twin Cities metro area. Interesting to note, last year we only had about 21 inches total for the entire winter. That's well over half of the snowfall that we had last year. 6 to 8 inches then through parts of Wisconsin. Wausau picked up 8 overnight, and then 4 to 6 through southern Minnesota. 1 to 4 on the fringes, though. Our radar right now is showing some additional snow showers developing to the northwest of the Twin Cities, as well as those flurries lingering around the south parts of the metro area and out to the west as well, according to surface reports. So our forecast is for cloudy and breezy conditions with light snow or flurries, high of 29, low of 13. Winds will be northwest at 10 to 20. Partly cloudy with a high of 33 degrees for tomorrow. The extended outlook, fair skies on Saturday and Sunday. Chance of some snow beginning to move in then on Monday, maybe mixed with some rain. Highs 35 to 40, lows 15 to 25. Here's a little point to remember, Bill. Snow is nature's peanut butter. It's crunchy, kids love it, and it sticks to the roof of your house.
Okay, Dan. Very, very good. Right now, Dale Doby's picking his way through those flurries with our live eye in the sky. How do things look? Keeping an eye on the freeways for us, Dale.
Well, actually, we're just checking out some accident reports that we've had here, and we did find one in the residential area. It looks to be on about Plymouth Avenue and about 1 block west of Lindale. One car, it looks like, and kind of got itself slid into an intersection here. Doesn't look to be too serious. There are numerous flashing lights. Evidently, it is pretty slippery down there this morning, Bill, and people better be extra cautious. We've had several reports of entrance, exit ramps, problems over the bridges, intersections, everything being a little slippery. The snow has kind of quit here on the west side of town for right now, so hopefully things will improve over here, but St. Paul area is going to be still a little slick, I think, for a few moments anyhow. Otherwise, still no major accidents or problems reported, but as we said, generally slippery all over the metropolitan area, so kind of keep an eye on it if you have to go to work. Otherwise, sit back, grab another cup of coffee, and we'll be back in about 15 minutes with another update.
Okay, Dale, I guess one of the problems is that it's a little deceiving. It looks as though the highways have been cleared, but they are still very slippery. The skies over the state of Wisconsin were the scene of a daring crime 10 years ago this month. You may remember the crime was carried out by a man known only as D.B. Cooper. Cooper parachuted out of a jetliner with $200,000 in cash. The FBI recently recovered a small part of it, suggested that D.B. Cooper probably didn't survive the jump. But there are some folks in Washington who disagree, and every November they gather to pay tribute to their anti-hero.
It was a rainy day in Washington when Cooper made...
Make no mistake, this is serious silliness, from the DB look-alike contest to the wearing of commemorative T-shirts, not to mention the sing-alongs and drink-alongs, and of course the non-stop guess-alongs about where the missing man of the hour is these days.
I think he's still alive. He got away with it.
I think he's right here in the crowd somewhere.
He's right up here, about 10 miles. He's got a little cabin.
I think he's down in South America enjoying the money.
I think he's here. Sure he's here.
He's definitely got to be here. I mean, this is his day.
He's the best guy ever was. If there was no FBI men, I'd tell you who he was.
Now Hollywood is moving in with its own version of DB's Destiny, a comedy action flick a la Smokey and the Bandit called The Pursuit of D.B. Cooper. Whether or not DB gets away in the movie doesn't much matter to the faithful festival goers back at the Ariel Store and Tavern. After all, this is still their legend, and they'll end it any way they see fit.
He's in a cave with Harry Truman, and they're playing poker with $20 bills.
Ariel, Washington, where D.B. Cooper himself might just be lifting a brew or two with his biggest fans.
D.B. Cooper, I am told that I said Wisconsin. Any fool except me knows it's Washington, Tony. Well, the North Stars and the Oilers, two of hockey's best in a standoff last night. Tony Parker will have the outcome and more in just a moment.
We could do what others do and make our broccoli and cheese sauce with more of the stem. Instead, we use only the best part. And we could make that in our cauliflower and cheese sauce with processed cheese instead of natural aged cheddar. We could take shortcuts on any of our 15 side dishes, but we'd taste the difference. And so would you. Who are we? You've probably guessed. We're Stovers.
Consider the fast-growing retail field, and you can prepare for it by entering the Merchandise Sales and Management Program at the new Minneapolis Technical Institute in downtown Minneapolis. The Merchandise Sales and Management Program is a one-year course that teaches the skills necessary for success in today's mass merchandising economy. In addition to courses in management, communication, sales, human relations, and supervision, the student will gain experience in all aspects of operating a retail business. Students in the program operate the Sky's the Limit, the largest and most modern on-campus retail store of its kind in the country today. Over 98% of Minneapolis Technical Institute's recent graduates are working in their chosen career areas. For more information, call MTI at 370-9400. This is John Gallus with Career Network Report.
I said the Oilers and the North Stars, two of hockey's best. It really sounds good to include the North Stars when you say the hockey's best.
By how things have changed. You'd always say Montreal, Toronto in the old days, remember?
Yeah.
Who was it made that sexist remark first, that the tie's like kissing your sister? You know, that kind of thing, not exciting? Boy, not last night. According to hockey tradition, the game that produces a final score of 3-2 is considered a classic matchup. Well, the North Stars and the Oilers played to a 2-2 tie last night before a standing room only crowd in Met Center, and the hard skating, strong checking game had all the ingredients of a classic. Mark Rosen has the highlights.
The North Stars are the only NHL team unbeaten at home, but they nearly lost that distinction against an impressive Edmonton Oilers team. Mark Messier opened the scoring late in the first period, scoring his 14th goal of the year for the Oilers, beating goalie Don Beaupre, who was making his first start of the season for the North Stars. The Stars kept constant pressure on 19-year-old rookie goalie Grant Fuhrer. Steve Kristoff scored the equalizer on a power play midway through the second period. The standing room only crowd then watched Edmonton regain the lead on Gary Curry's goal late in the second period. Kent Eric Anderson, perhaps the steadiest player on the North Stars this season, demonstrated his stick-handling ability, scoring a nifty goal, the eventual game-tying score in the third period. Beaupre and Fuhrer then took over center stage, stopping everything the rest of the way. The NHL's leading scorer, Wayne Gretzky, was held without a point for only the fourth time this season. Gretzky had scored 15 points in Edmonton's last 5 games. The North Stars and Oilers continue to lead their respective divisions. Final score, Minnesota 2, Edmonton 2.
The Stars will resume action tomorrow night, hosting the high-scoring Chicago Blackhawks in Met Center. Those two teams then play a rematch Sunday night in Chicago. Other scores last night, one other tie, Quebec and Montreal at 1. Boston beat Hartford by the score of 6-1. Calgary 6, the LA Kings 3, Vancouver 8, and Detroit 3. Well, there's a strong indication today that the National Hockey League is finally getting serious about trying to stop the needless violence in the game. Look in the upper left-hand corner of the screen, right there. Ben Wilson of the Philadelphia Flyers decides he's going to do some plastic surgery on Reijo Ruotsalainen's face with his stick. Well, after reviewing the films of that recent game, the league has suspended Wilson for 4 games. That's one of the stiffest penalties the league has handed out in recent times. Well, apparently Magic Johnson has done a number on Laker coach Paul Westhead. Magic, who was unhappy because he wasn't getting enough playing time or allowed to shoot often enough, said that he was going to quit if Westhead continued as coach. So yesterday, owner Jerry Buss fired the coach and replaced him with assistant Pat Riley and named former Laker great Jerry West as the club's offensive coordinator. Buss said that Magic's tantrum had nothing to do with the firing. Well, the players will have to cope with the weather as well as each other in the final weekend of high school and college football this weekend. It starts tonight. High school championships will be played in 4 divisions, with a Class AA game set for Minneapolis Parade Stadium, with Rosemont meeting Moorhead. Championships in Class A, B, C, and 9-man will be decided at various outstate locations. And the Gophers host Wisconsin tomorrow in the season finale in Memorial Stadium, and a postseason bowl bid may go to the winner. But the Gophers do need a big win to get the nod from the Garden State Bowl Committee, which is leaning toward Wisconsin for that December 13th game in New Jersey. So if you're in the business of selling inflatable domes for sports facilities, it almost seems as though Minnesota's not the place to showcase the product. At least the Vikings have to be wondering about their Eden Prairie practice dome, as well as the roof on the Metrodome that sagged under heavy snow yesterday. A power failure in Eden Prairie caused the practice dome to sag on the scaffolding which holds the team's photo crew. The result was a big tear in the fabric, and they shortened the field by about 30 yards. No, this is not a romp celebrating the sagging of the dome. That's Ahmad Rashad demonstrating his Minnesota broken field running, trying to get away from his playful playmates, Bill, as they celebrated his 32nd birthday out there.
So Magic's tantrum had nothing to do with the firing.
Nothing to do with firing the coach.
McEnroe's tantrums have nothing to do with his finding either, did they? No. Late flurry of buying helps lift Wall Street into the plus column, just barely. We'll give you the final tally when the morning report moves on.
I love China. It is so beautiful. Especially one particular China.
Royal Dalton of England,
Royal Dalton of England, bone and fine china.
Royal Dalton of England,
Royal Dalton of England, the finest in China. Also North and South America.
Royal Dalton Dinnerware on sale now at Dayton's.
If all you look for in a clothing store is low prices, they're not hard to find. But if you're looking for top quality clothing at extraordinary savings, that's another ballgame. And that's what Clothing Distribution Center is all about. Tremendous selection, famous brands, superb tailoring, luxury fabrics. That's the only kind of clothing you'll find here at Clothing Distribution Center. Shop us and get the fine quality clothing you really want at prices far below what you'd expect to pay.
There are shopping centers
And then there are shopping centers, introducing a whole new way to shop. The Bachmans on Lyndale Way. Boutiques, shops, and specialty areas all under one roof, carrying everything you need to pretty up where you live or work and brighten up your life. This shopping center is better than ever before. Visit us again. Bachman's on Lyndale, 6010 Lyndale Avenue South.
Surprise, Jessica, I'm home!
It's not what it looks like.
Looks like lasagna to me. I thought we were on a diet.
We still are.
Weight Watchers? Jessica, don't try to fool me.
Finally, 19 new meals that are so much saucier, so much chunkier, and so much zestier, you won't believe they're Weight Watchers. New Weight Watchers frozen meals. So good, you'd almost think you're cheating.
Why didn't you tell me?
You didn't ask.
For most of the day, Wall Street was lower yesterday amid worries about how deep the recession will go, but a late flurry of buying helped lift Wall Street slightly higher. And at the closing bell, the Dow Jones Industrial Averages were up 0.67. Its estimated share of common stock was up 14 cents on the New York Exchange, up 17 cents on the American. Gold closed $2.60 higher in New York. Silver fell 9.5 cents. Well, the old ways give way to the new. We gave way once more to Dale Dobish. A final look at morning traffic. Dale, how's it look up there?
Well, it's still pretty much the same, Bill. There's still no reported accidents or incidents anywhere, but there are a lot of what we see right here, cars that have gone into the ditch, got back up, and probably had snow jammed up into the engine, so it probably wouldn't run or something, so they're sitting along the freeway. Also notice that the freeway traffic is moving quite slow, probably around 30 miles an hour, and you can see reflections on the road of the little icy conditions. Exit ramps, entrance ramps are all slick, and so are the parking lots. So it's going to be a little slow going out here this morning, but as we said, no major problems reported yet. So we hope it continues that way. We'll keep track of all the things, and hopefully going home at 5 o'clock tonight, we can get out of it. So have a good weekend, Bill.
Okay, thank you very much, Dale. Dan Carlson here to tell us to dress warm. Is that right, Dan?
That's right. The temperature down a degree, Bill. It's at 24 degrees in the Twin Cities. We have some light snow out there with cloudy skies, and our humidity is 85%. The pressure 3008, rising with northwest winds at 9. Our forecast is for cloudy and breezy conditions with light snow or flurries, high of 29, low of 13. Winds will be northwest at 10 to 20. Partly cloudy with a high of 33 degrees for tomorrow.
Okay, Dan, thank you. Taking a final look at this morning's top stories now. The dome is down. The combination of heavy snow, higher than normal pressure inside, and an apparent defect led to a collapse last night at the Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome. A compromise was reached early today on an emergency funding bill to keep the federal government going. $3,300,000 were trimmed from that original bill. And Governor Quee says he will stick with his plan to convene a special session of the legislature on December 1st. And that's it for the Morning Report for today and for this week. Tony Sappel will be here come Monday. In the meantime, join Debbie Ely and me for the Noon Report, and Pat, Doug, and Dave at 5, 6, and 10. Good morning.
Grow the world's best tasting potato? Well, first you get yourself a volcano. And after it's through blowing up, you wait, about 65 million years until the soil is just right. Add your perfect climate. Put it all in one place and call it Idaho.
If you want the right potato, you know just where to go. When you find our seal, you know it's real, it's grown in Idaho.
65 million years in the making and worth the wait.
The only serious solution to indoor air pollution, Ecologizer CA90 air treatment systems. The unique CA90 natural cleansing system is scientifically superior to anything else. It removes tobacco smoke, odors, dust, and pollen from the air continuously. Ecologizer CA90 air treatment systems for home, office, and auto. Anything else is less.
Available at participating coast to coast in our own hardware stores and Manson's Value Center.
If you've ever had the feeling you had to wait forever for a Subaru station wagon, here's good news. They're available now with on-demand four-wheel drive or front-wheel drive. But because of Subaru mileage, Subaru sticker prices, and Subaru durability, better see your Subaru dealer soon before they start disappearing again.
Check your yellow pages for the Subaru dealer near you.
WCCO Television, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
More American women are addicted to prescribed drugs. When women go to see a doctor, the chances are that they will come away with a prescription for Valium or some other mood-inducing drug. Why so many women? What are the symptoms that they bring to the doctor? What are the causes of the addiction to prescribed drugs? Merle Nellis is here to talk about the female fix. Please welcome her to Washington. How severe are we talking about? You suggest in the female fix we're talking about an epidemic.
Indeed we are. We're talking about probably the largest drug epidemic in the country, all the wars on other drugs aside.
And we're talking about tranquilizers.
Yes.
We're talking about things like diet pills and